Welcome to Gold Squadron Paint Wars, a painting competition that gives 3 painters the same theme, model, and 2 weeks to give us their best work, whose technique, artistic choices, but most importantly, execution of today's theme will earn them a Paint Wars Champion medal.
Hi, I'm Omer Ibrahim from Colchester in the UK. I've been painting miniatures for almost 10 years now. I'm really pleased and excited to be a part of Paint Wars. I'm fairly confident that I can get across my individuality and my style, and that's really what I'm here for. I just want to show you what I can do.
Hi, my name is Meyer. I'm from Pearland, Texas. I've been painting miniatures for probably about 5 years. I am looking forward to this competition because simply I'd like to have a little fun with it and the creative aspect behind it and this year's challenge. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody else makes and produces.
Hey, my name is Brian Collis. I am from Brick, New Jersey. Join me. Been painting X-Wing miniatures for about 2 years now. I still consider myself very much an amateur. So my hope for being in this competition really is that my creativity overshadows my lack of skill and experience. And really I'm hoping my entry just makes my episode interesting.
Dia de los Muertos is a Mexican holiday where families gather together to remember and honor their friends and family that have passed. Whether it's the Mexican marigold or ornately decorated calavera, there is plenty of artistic inspiration surrounding this holiday. And the model being painted for this prompt is the Thai CA Punisher.
Dia de los Muertos.
Dia de los Muertos is a Mexican holiday where families gather together
To remember and honor their friends and family that have passed.
Whether it's the Mexican marigold or ornately decorated calavera,
There is plenty of artistic inspiration surrounding this holiday.
So, this should be fun.
I think there's lots of inspiration for a Day of the Dead Punisher.
Our lead judge today is Lyla Mev. We're also joined by Kuzmanoff and Piche. The judges, today our prompt is Dia de los Muertos, the Mexican holiday. We're going to start with you, Lyla. If you were doing a repaint with that theme, how would you approach it?
The first things that I think about are bright colors, skulls, obviously, flowers. I want to be transported to this day, to the feeling of the day, to the theme of the day, because it's not just pretty colors. There's so much cultural implications, and it's an extremely important holiday, and I don't want to see someone commercialize it, but I want to see the spirit of it instead.
Chris?
When I'm thinking about Dia de los Muertos, I'm looking for, much like Lyla was saying, really bright and vibrant colors. And also with using a Thai Punisher, you have all those circles to work with. So really using those to your advantage. And if it were me, I would go just completely overboard. And I might actually go with some blacklight oriented or some glowing paint. So something that you could throw something in there that's just a little bit unique and be like, hey, watch this, hit the black light that you have with you, and that it just radiates with color.
And wait.
Go bold. I want to see a full palette used on some of these ships. There's a lot of colors obviously incorporated into a lot of Day of the Dead pieces. And I really want to see our artists kind of represent that and transport it onto such a small and unique vessel. I think the painters are going to be challenged very heavily with painting potentially straight lines and also painting dots. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they got.
I'll be absolutely honest, I've never painted a Thai Punisher before. I mostly play Rebels. The sort of main thing I'm seeing from like researching Dia de los Muertos and things like that, the calavera, the skulls, they're usually white. A lot of the celebration I've seen when I've been, watching street parties and festivals on YouTube and watching Coco, it's very colourful, very colourful. So I'm worried if I did it white and then just all the details, try to recreate a skull, that would be super boring. So I think we're just going to be multicoloured. I'm a big fan of the phrase, follow the process, not the method. Meaning, once I start having an idea, if things start to change, then I just go with it. Art is fluid, and that's how I work. My main struggle, so a little while ago I painted Rey Mysterio, the wrestler's mask, on a Millennium Falcon. Rey, get it? And getting all those details on that big canvas was difficult. Getting smaller, finer details on something a portion of the size, that is probably going to be my biggest challenge. But I think it's what I need to do to win.
For Dia de los Muertos, notice that the primary color is white, and so the ship will be white. Then I plan to use another color for the under chassis for the ship. I'm going to hit it with the airbrush with either a red or purple, not decided yet. See how the white looks. And then I plan on top to paint some hearts, flame hearts on the top. And then on the side, I am going to attempt to paint the skull that is synonymous with the holiday on both sides of the wings. So, and the wings are a perfect canvas to do something. They're turned. Yeah, that's going to be a little challenge. But that is one of the things that my concern is painting the skull. And then I'm also going to use marigolds around the skull and so forth. But yeah, I plan to do that on the wings. Inspiration on this project is, other than the holiday itself, I sat down and watched the other day the movie Coco. Yeah, I'm going to pull from that a little bit and see how it all comes out. I'm excited to get started, so let's go.
First off, as far as tools go, I have nothing special. I don't have an airbrush. I just have a bunch of inexpensive brushes. I am an architect by trade, so hopefully I have some experience using these tools to create finicky little models. Obviously, a calavera or sugar skull is an obvious sort of direction, but instead of sort of painting sugar skulls on the model as decorative elements, I want to use the shape of the Punisher to suggest that a sugar skull. And then the wings are sort of going to be this character's. The purple's going to be the main color. The pink's going to be more of the trim, sort of deep, outline color. So I had to pop the wings off my Punisher anyway to paint in the little nooks and crannies. And so when I glue them back on, instead of going on this way like a normal Punisher, I think I'm going to flip them around this way. So it's going to have more of an interceptor stance. After that, I'm going to sort of bedazzle it with some like little metallic detailing, some bright, maybe like golds and silvers, to really sort of just put the design over the top. So that's my plan. Let's see how it goes.
All right, judges. Well, I'm going to send the painter's work to your data pads now, and we're going to get into the judging. Our first category in the competition is technical quality. Painters are judged on their painting technique. This focuses on the execution of their repaint, and our judges will be looking for clean application of paint, as well as the quality of construction for any modifications that they made. Chris, what do you think?
So starting off, I'd like to go with Brian's ship. They really did a great job of modifying the Punisher and taking different bits from other X-Wing ships and putting them on, and really making those modifications seamless. They did a really great job with that. But on the painting side of things, there are some execution issues that need to be addressed. The paint is very thick, so we would like to see cleaner lines and thinning of the paint so that we can still see the details of the model a little bit clearer. And a lot of the smaller, fine detail work is not as crisp and as clean as we would like it to be. When we go to David's work here, they did a really fantastic job of blending with their airbrush work before going into their freehand work, which is also really well done. The skulls on both sides of the wings are very well executed, and the marigold work on the top is done very well as well. Looking at the front of the ship on the different engines, it just looks like that some contrast paints or some washes were used. I'd like to see that highlighted a bit more and not just the wash and move on. And when we go to Omer's ship, I really like the edge highlighting that they did on the front side, and then the freehand work on both sides of the ship is wonderful. And then the little writing of the message on the front of Remember Me is a very nice touch.
Our second category in the competition is artistic quality. This focuses on the color choices, how their color choices work together, as well as the general effect that these choices made. Wade?
Brian used a very black and white approach with most of his ship, using the contrast to kind of give it, point out the features that he was going for. And then he used, I'm assuming his favorite color, purple, on the wings. But I would have really liked to see more colors incorporated in this piece. David and Omer both came to the wings with the same approach of starting with a light color in the front and moving into a dark color at the back of the ship. David used a vast amount of colors to kind of portray what he was trying to do, where Omer kind of had a more unified vision of using kind of contrasting purples and oranges and yellows, which I really liked in his details as well.
Our final and most important category is thematic quality. Did the painters actually adhere to the prompt given? And if so, whose choices make the strongest connection to this episode's prompt? Take it away, Lyla.
When I look at Brian's ship, I'm in love with the purple and pink. Those are personally my favorite colors, but I feel like it doesn't really say anything other than it's a pink and purple ship. I don't particularly see any theme. So it's not that they didn't meet the theme, but there is no theme. With David's ship, it's more like they painted Day of the Dead onto it, whereas when we look at Omer's ship, it's like it fulfills the thematic quality itself. Instead of Day of the Dead just being placed on it, the ship itself is themed with Day of the Dead.
As the judges come to their final decisions, let's go ahead and hear from our painters.
I had a really good time competing in Paint Wars. I'm fairly happy with how my ship came out. I'm not sure it's the best work I've ever done. Unfortunately, I think it's some of the most intricate work I've ever done. If you look at the finished product, you'll see that there's airbrushing is quite intrinsic in it. It has a good few layers. What I thought was just a clog turned out to be the actual inside of here is cracked. I don't have another one. I don't have time to get another one. What was even more fun was that I wasted quite a bit of time when I did plug it back in and tried to spray, and paint just like a mist everywhere. And then adding to that, the next day I managed to damage my hip. You may notice I'm sitting kind of sideways. That's because sitting on anything harder than my bed really hurts. In fact, the only reason I can get in this chair is because I've taken the arm off of it so I fit. Which has made painting quite a bit of a challenge, as you can imagine. But what would a contest like this be without a little bit of a struggle and a little bit of drama, right? I'm really proud of the banner, the Require the Me banner on the back of it. That's probably my favourite part. Even if it is really cartoony and really kind of stands out, that was the part of this that I really wanted, that Remember Me line, because it sums up everything, that I really wanted to get into it, so I'm really glad that I did manage to get it in there. If I'd had a little bit more time, there's maybe some more things I could have focused on and given a little bit more detail. That said, if I'd had a whole nother week, maybe I would have just started doing too many little things and picking at it, and I might have ruined what I did come up with. That tends to be the way when you don't have a hard sort of timeline on something, so maybe the time limit was great for that. I'm fairly confident that I've produced something that really represents what I do as a painter. I often stress I'm not the best painter out there, but what I do is different from what everybody else does, I hope. I have a different way of looking at things, and I have a different way of thinking about things, and I hope that I can represent myself as an artist on this ship, and I am very, very sure that I've done that, and this has been something really worthwhile.
Okay, so here I am at the end of this project, and I have to say that I did enjoy participating in it very much. One thing that I definitely liked a lot was the creative side. Being issued a prompt that was in the box, reading it over, and taking the idea of that prompt and using the ship as the canvas. That was very enjoyable and challenging at the same time. I wish I had more time to work on the sugar skull. I would have added some transitions and some other highlights as well to the sugar skull. During the airbrushing, I had a moment where it was clogging. That was mainly during the sugar skull stenciling that I did, but otherwise there wasn't any other real problem that I encountered. One thing that I changed in the process that I had originally planned for, and that was the dry brushing. I had originally intended to dry brush the top with a white color or brighter color, but after I had airbrushed the wings, I decided against it. So that's the only thing that I made any changes on. Overall, I feel like I presented a quality piece of work that I hope will win, but if not, I'm just happy to be part of the participation as well as the competition.
So I have to say my overall experience with competing in Paint Wars has been really positive. I'm still a little surprised I was picked to compete, so I'm honored. I am. And I can tell you that yes, something did in fact go wrong. I had gotten my primer coats were on, and I was opening the first jar of paint, which was a Turbo Dork metallic pink. And as I went to squeeze out a drop onto my palette to test it, the top popped off and pink paint went everywhere. So I wound up losing a not inconsiderable amount of time, as I then had to clean up my desk and my monitor, and some got on the model, so I had to sort of clean up and re-primer some parts. So that actually cost me a little bit of time, and so I wound up, as far as things that changed from my original plan, I wound up not doing some of the sort of floral sort of design elements I was going to add, because I didn't have time, but in the end, it gave me a chance to sort of rethink that, and I think had I put them on, it might have been a little bit too busy in the overall design anyway, so I guess I can look at that as a blessing in disguise. As far as the result, my final project, I wasn't really happy with it, like right up until the end. Now that it's finished, I'm okay with it. I kind of smiled when it was done, at least. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. There are definitely things I would do different if I had it to do over again, but overall I'm happy with it. My fave thing about it is really the face that I put on it, sort of the abstract face that I put on the Punisher chassis. I'm really happy with the way that came out. I do wish I had a little bit more time. I probably would have rethought how I did the wings a little bit, but part of the lack of time was really just my own schedule. I had the one mishap, and then I was just kind of scrambling at the end there to make up for it. I didn't go into this really thinking I would win. I know there's people out there that are a lot more talented and experienced at this than I am, and I was just trying to have a good time. I'm happy with it, but I don't expect to win.
The winner of this episode of Gold Squadron Paint Wars is... Omer Ibrahim.
Omer is the winner because of his ability to intertwine the theme with Star Wars. We really loved the Stormtrooper helmet being redecorated and reused to fit this theme, as well as all of the time he took to paint the inside of the wings, to really panel line or outline those engines. And it's very clear that he thought through his color scheme, purple and orange, complementary colors. Like I said, freehand, really merging this theme in with the ship, and that's why he stood out today.
Thank you to our painters and judges for their amazing work, and thank you to you for watching Gold Squadron Paint Wars. The models being painted on our show are being given away to you, our audience and supporters, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and then follow us on Instagram and Twitch so that you don't miss when we're giving these models away. And if you want to be a part of our biggest group of supporters, the ones that make this show possible, head over to patreon.com/Gold Squadron. It is linked below. Now, let us know in the comments, do you agree with our judges? And is there a painter in our episode that you think is deserving of another chance in a future episode? Thanks for watching Gold Squadron Paint Wars. Gold Squadron out.